Sometimes an option seems good upon initial consideration, and then it comes back to bite us in the backside in the end, no pun intended. So we can deal with that situation in a few different ways. You can either blame yourself, you can make yourself feel stupid at somehow jumping before you considered the situation. You can go back through the situation and pick out all the areas that you did something wrong. You can be your own inner critic, give yourself a hard time, place a lot of blame on your shoulder, increase the level of doubt with which you're approaching a specific situation, or you can look at it in a different manner. You had to make a choice. You didn't really have any other option other than to make a choice. And you did consider the situation. It felt like it was the appropriate direction for you to head in. But now you find yourself in a situation where, well, things aren't quite so pleasant. You're not happy with the results that were produced. In taking assertive action in order to create some movement, well, you incurred some loss. And that loss doesn't really make you feel so happy. So now you're going, well, perhaps that was a little too radical. Perhaps I was a little bit unorthodox in my approach. Maybe, I think the best advice at the moment is to recognize that sometimes things appear a certain way upon initial glance. And then upon retrospect, we recognize that our senses deceived us. We thought that we were acting upon insight when really we were moving with faulty information. And sure, you can try to point the finger at yourself. You can point the finger at me too if you want. Okay. But that's not really going to help, because number one, you couldn't have known. You couldn't have known. And with the situation that you're dealing with, you found yourself in a position, and likely may still be finding yourself in a position where it was necessary that at the very least you did something. And so you did something. You worked with the best option and the wisest choice that you felt that you did have. But here's another little hint. Sometimes the choices that we make go wrong because we're approaching a situation that we're trying to improve externally. We go, if I change this external set of circumstances in my life, that's going to make things better, right? If I quit this job and go for this job, that's going to make my life better. If I move to this new area or this new house, that will improve my social life. Whatever it might be, we make these external choices that we think are going to improve upon things. Then we find ourselves in that position and we go, still things are not improved. And that's because often things have to happen from the inside out. Now, Venus is entering Jyeshtha Nakshatra on the 15th of January, where it will transit through to the 26th of January, and it will be conjuncting Jupiter in Jyeshtha Nakshatra. When Venus and Jupiter conjunct each other, Jupiter expands upon that Venus capacity to go, wow, I have a desire for this because that's going to make my life better. Here are all these opportunities to make my life better. But what ends up happening is Venus creates something that's called starvation for Jupiter. Now, when Jupiter gets starved, what ends up happening is all those choices that we initially thought were the wisest decisions for us to make all of a sudden don't really seem like they were wise choices at all. We end up making decisions to enrich our lives from an external perspective, and inside of ourselves, we ultimately don't feel happy. But it's not a matter of finding fault. Fault finding will only diminish self-esteem, and you need that self-esteem right now. Let's face it, you're dealing with a high-pressure moment, and when you're dealing with the high-pressure moment, the pressure feels like it's on you to succeed. So don't give yourself a hard time. Don't further self-doubt. Don't think that you were some kind of an idiot. Recognize that you did the best that you could with the specific situation, but you could have maybe considered things a little more deeply, and think for the future and recognize that you need to not let your senses deceive you in future choices that are somewhat similar. And if you could use a little bit of help where you're confronting a difficult set of circumstances, I should mention that I do offer several different levels of astrological service. All of these are available through the astrological services page of my website. If you're interested in scheduling with me, you can do so through the link above. And while you're on my website, you may have seen a link about a new course on concrete prediction using Jaimini dashes that starts in March. There's an early registration discount available on that. You can just go to the courses page from the menu on the home page of my website, or any other page on my website. That's going to do it for this look at Venus's transit through Jyeshtha Nakshatra, where it will join Jupiter from the 15th of January to the 26th of January 2019. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.